Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Warren Kirsten Street Photography Podcast. And as promised, I said I was going to come back with hopefully another one by the end of the month because I missed April's episode. So here we are. Today is the 31st, and I am releasing this out to you guys to hopefully again provide you with some interesting topics that you can get some information out of as it relates to what you're trying to do with street photography and gear around street photography, and then also books for street photography artists that you might want to add to your book collection. I will generally talk about a trend as well to start us off. And then I'd look for you guys, of course, to give comments, feedback about how you like the podcast, how you like the contents, suggestions, of course, in those areas, as well as comments, questions, and stuff that you have about the topics that we go through. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and get right into it and get right into what I think should be a trend that a lot of us photographers, if not all of us, creators, content creators, should be doing, and that is don't come off as a scam, right? And don't be scammy. I've heard that phrase. I've said that phrase myself. Don't be scam. Don't be scammy. What do I mean by that? Is legitimize yourself, legitimize your brand, legitimize your name, legitimize your experience, so that when you have a scenario where, say, a picture you've taken of somebody that they like, and they want to do something monetarily with it, or someone like an art gallery or a magazine sees some of your content, or maybe you do collabs like I do on the YouTube channel, and they see some of your content on your social medias, and it prompts them to want to maybe start a collaborative relationship with you, with their brand. Legitimize yourself to, one, not come off as scammy, and also to protect yourself from scams as well. Protect yourself from theft and unwanted invasion of your property, intellectual property, right? And so, how do I go about doing that, guys? Honestly, in a lot of ways, the simplest things that we can do have the biggest impact. Okay. And one of the things I do right away, it's old school, it's super old school, and it is I get business cards. So I have a business card for my Paint with Light professional, I should say, if you want to say professional website. It's separate from my street photography, and I have a business card for that, and there it is right there. I use these because it helps to add some legitimacy to what I do. It helps to show people that I'm not some creep with a camera, because if you've checked some of my older videos out about how to get into or get comfortable doing street photography, I had a 3-video series. One of them I said is it's hard for males to be street photographers because people automatically associate us as the creepy guy with the camera. And one of the easiest ways you could do that is, again, to get business cards, right? So one of the cool things about business cards is that these days they're very cheap, and you can get QR codes added to them. So this street photography one, I have QR codes to stuff, and we're going to talk about those too, because again, those become other opportunities to legitimize yourself. That doesn't take a whole lot of effort to do it, and then protect yourself from the whole scamminess that people have to deal with, unfortunately, these days, not with just photography, but with a lot of things. So business cards, that's one. Number two, as you see on the back of this business card, like I said, I have, QR codes. Those QR codes go somewhere. The first one is, which is another easy one, but I think a lot of people make mistakes with it, is I have a QR code that goes to the Instagram account for that particular business, or art venture, or thing that I do with my photography. So like when it comes to Paint with Light, I have a Paint with Light Instagram, and the QR code on this card, though, this one actually goes to another thing. But when it comes to social media, people have a number of different opportunities for social media out there, with applications from Instagram to Facebook to X to a lot of things. Twitter, well, Twitter is X now, right? Reddit, and so forth. And you want to separate your Instagram or your social media accounts from, I think, your artwork. So if you guys hear some noise, I'm sorry, but there's some stuff going on in the room outside of me. So we'll muddle through this. But you don't want to have, say, you're like in my case, my street photography work intertwined with my personal stuff that I would put on my social media. I actually have social media for specific things. I have Instagram for my artworks, for the business side and for the street photography side. And then I also have Facebook, which is for my personal stuff. So I only use Facebook. Yes, I'm old. I only use Facebook, excuse me, for my personal social media stuff, because I actually do connect with friends and family on Facebook, and that's what I use it for. To me, Instagram, Twitter, or X, they're more for, me wanting to publicize the things that I do out to people, and hopefully, not only just showcase my work, but hopefully also get opportunities for work with folks, by throwing out that as a kind of a marketing plan for myself. But I separate them so that I can, again, provide legitimacy to what I am, which is a photographer. So when I have my camera and people come up to me and ask me about, what am I going to do with the images, I tell them what I'm going to do with it by showing them my Instagram account for if I'm doing street photography. I give them a business card that has QR codes on it, and they are like, wow, okay, this guy's legit. I'll go to my phone and I will pull up my Instagram on my phone and also make it easier to show them images. And then if they want to follow me instantly, of course, we connect right then and there. Or they can always go to the card and use that to connect with me, because I have my email address on there for each one as a means. And there is one last thing that these cards do, and that's all tied together to that legitimacy, is a website. A lot of people downplay whether they need to have a website or not, and I can tell you guys right now, the prices are not bad to have a website. When you can have a website, like now I use Wix. This is not sponsored by Wix. I decided to go to Wix years ago when I started wanting to legitimize that piece of my artwork, my content creation, if you will. I went to Wix and started my website. The cool thing about websites like Wix and the other ones out there is that I don't need to be a programmer, right? We all know that. They have templates in place that you can use, that's easy drop in, drop out objects that can go into those templates, and you can build up a nice website. And then they all have, to some degree, a ability for you to work with a specialist for a little extra money if you want to go ahead and do that, and they will build a website for you and work with you, which is great too. But I've been able to, with the use of feedback from potential customers and friends and unknowns, been able to go in and make tweaks to both websites, one for my paint with light and one for Warren C photography for my street photography. And those QR codes on these cards will lead you to my website for each one. So there you go, guys. That's what I think should be a trend. I think every content creator out there should really look at some form of legitimacy in what they do on social media, business cards possibly, and websites, so that they can let people that they want to make a part of, I should say, their content, aware that they're not a scammer, the creep. So they're going to do something with the images that they don't know, and one day their image is going to be up on a billboard, and they have no way of being able to go after that. Well, actually you do, but you know what I mean. Just, for you to look at, I don't want to be sucked in as somebody thinking that I'm a scammer, and it maybe would take away opportunities from you. Because believe me, there are people out there that will go to social media, they will check people's websites, they will check mostly social media and see what people are doing, and will throw scams at you left and right. I mean, we all deal with it as photographers for sure, and content creators. I'm constantly getting junk email from people with trying to scam me for my content, right? So, and it happens to all of us once we start using social media. So there we go. Legitimize yourself. What do you guys use? What else do you use outside of the business card, outside of social media, separate accounts for what you're doing with your content creation, and websites if you do them? What else do you guys do? For me, I'll add this little piece. my websites, these business cards, and my social media, if you think about it, they're also marketing tools. You're marketing yourself as well, your brand, your name, your style of content creation, whether that's video or photography, stills, I should say. And it all comes together. This is a brand, right? All of this YouTube channel. And that is the other thing I guess I got to mention. I also do YouTube, obvious, right? And I do a podcast, obvious, right? But it's all part of the brand to market myself, to legitimize myself, and to give myself some the legitimization. There we go. Legitimacy is probably somebody's name. Legitimization. If I butcher that. Hey, um, to themselves and provide themselves opportunities, which is one of the things it's hard not to do this and not want to reap the rewards of some opportunities as well for the work that you put in for your content creation. So there you go. You guys let me know what you do, what else you do. How do you legitimize yourself? This should be the ultimate trend. This should be the forever trend, I think, for content creators, is to protect yourself. Don't come off scammy. Legitimize yourself the right way. And if you are going to put effort into it, put the effort into separating yourself, your personal life away from your content creation, whether you're being paid or not. It does matter, in my opinion. So there you go. Now, the next thing, of course, we're going to get into is my favorite part of my podcast. I say that all the time because it truly is, which is, the books that I come across, the who you're repping section, and we're repping New York City. We have a book here that when I first saw this book, I thought, okay, really? I don't quite, that's all that is. And I looked through the book and it was cool, but I liked what I saw in the book, but it didn't quite hit me at the time. And then when it did hit me, what the book was provided for me outside of just the street photography, we'll use the word greatness that the book has in it. I then wanted the book, and then of course it was gone at the bookstore I was at. But I was able to get the book on Amazon, which is great. And that is Storefronts, New York City. And we're repping Mr. James and Miss Karla Murray. They're a husband and wife team, and they are architectural and interior, I believe, photographers. I'll do a quick read up on their bio that I found. But let me tell you about this book and why I am happy to finally get a copy and add it to my collection. And nostalgia. As you guys know, I grew up in New York City, and one of the things we are bad about as people, we'll say humans, is we get complacent, we get comfortable, and that comfortableness, that complacency leads us to not do things that we should do or want to do, because we figure we got time. And we don't know what life is got in front of us and what's going to happen, but we still get complacent and we still get comfortable and we waste time. And for me, that was growing up in New York, I always thought I was going to be able to get to some of the ethnic areas that you see movies on, if you will. I grew up in Harlem, so I'm already in Harlem, but I figured I'd have opportunities to hit Chinatown a lot, and I didn't. I figured I'd have opportunities to hit Greektown a lot, and I didn't. Each of the 5 barrels has a little bit of everything in it. Their own little Italian, little Italy, I should say. Their own little Greek town. Their own little Chinatown. Everything. And then what I always loved about New York is the mom and pop stores, the variety, not just in food, but in everything, from clothing and shopping to home goods and fashion, of course. And what this book does for me is it brings back the opportunity for me to at least see what I missed out on when I was growing up in New York City. And a lot of the images that are in this book are from every single image actually is storefronts, and it is the interaction of the possibly store workers and owners in the storefronts in some instances. But I think it's fantastic. As I open this up and show a few of the images here, and hopefully I got the glare off from the light source here. I think it's fantastic how they captured the stores. They got enough of the front of the store in frame to show the story, the show the storefront, which is the story, right? Um, New York is that's New York. You know, we didn't have the we had mom and pops, right? Stores. We didn't have the warehouse stores that you have where I'm at now in Michigan. You know, here a grocery store here is it could be 20, 30 of these stores and all together in one grocery store, right? We have Kroger is the store here, Myers, and they're huge too. You know, they have everything in them, from food to fashion to home goods, groceries, you know, and they would they would encompass a number of these stores that I grew up going to and seeing in New York, but they don't give you the artistic and individuality of the store that the owners bring to it um, at all. And that was another one of the great things I liked about New York. It was the character of the stores too that this book brings back. I actually ate at this Howard Johnson's, you know, in New York. Hopefully I got this right. And I love this book for that. It's really a true nostalgia hit for me, if you will. And I love the fact that I was able to pick me up a copy and see all the different locations and all the five barrels, excuse me, that they took images of storefronts in, and showing all of the diversity and character of New York and the communities that they took the photos in. So as I go to my notes here and I read up on James and Karla, excuse me, Murphy, they're a husband and wife, architectural and interior photographers and multimedia artists based in New York City. For over 25 years, they have focused their lens, excuse me, on the streetscape through portraits of storefronts and shop owners, and have thrived to capture moments of city life that often go undocumented but capture the spirit, energy, cultural diversity, and individual neighborhoods, excuse me. And so it's fantastic. I love it. And that's what it literally does for me. This brought it back for me. So I think this would be a wonderful book in a lot of people's collection. I like how the use of it looks like kind of a fade to kind of give a little pastel-y type feel to the images. Definitely brought to me kind of that feel in New York as well, because it was some New York, you know, we had some clouds and stuff, and even so everything always kind of had a little bit of a kind of faded look to it because stuff has been around for a long time, right? I like the fact that they went with the type of cardstock they went to, and the hardcover book that I got, because this book, like these stores, feel like this book is going to be around for a very long time. So I'm pretty excited about that. And they really did just go out and capture storefronts. And it got me thinking too. The other part about this book is it gave me an idea for a project myself. Maybe something like this I can do in the Detroit area, because Detroit itself has you know, mom and pop stores. Detroit itself doesn't have, or at least it's starting to get, but it didn't have for years, the big warehouse stores or the big grocery stores like Kroger and Whole Foods and so forth. And it's now getting that, which is great, because it was pretty much of a food desert as it went through its trying times. Um, but now that it's coming back, I'm starting to see the areas that I didn't even know existed. Like, for instance, Chinatown. I didn't realize Detroit actually had a Chinatown downtown. It's pretty much has to come back, but there are markers, which I thought was cool. And on a recent photo walk I did, you know, we actually saw some of the markers and some of the red highlighted awning around some businesses that was showing that you were in the old Chinatown area. And I thought that was awesome. And when I got this book, it made me think, you know, maybe I can do the same as my own little personal project and go downtown and capture some storefronts in and around Detroit that would be a historical document, because that's literally what, you know, so doing street photography is. You're creating historical documentation of the time, and then it's there, and as long as those images stay alive. So I love all the wonderful nostalgic feeling this book has brought to me, and I'm happy to add it to my collection, and I think you guys would love to do that too. And when it comes to James and Karla, I'll make sure, like I've done in the past, I'll put their website in. They are active on Instagram. I believe when you look at the website, they have a number of other projects that they've completed if you're interested in that. And I didn't check, so you'll have to check yourself, which is always a good thing, to see if they have workshops and things like that that you might want to check out and see if you want to do. But there you go. We are repping New York City. The book that brings me great nostalgia is Storefronts New York City by James and Karla Murray. And I think, again, this would be a great addition to your photo library or photo book library, street photography, you know what I mean? So with that, we're gonna get into the gear section. And this one, I gotta honestly say, sometimes I think it's not always about the gear. It's about what you can do and what you want to do and choosing the right gear for it. So last episode, I talked about this camera, which is the GFX 100 RF. And I've always given Fuji their props, if you will, their flowers, if you will, for being able to think out the box on their products, and giving us products that really actually hit a nostalgic feel, that just, or hit us in a way that we didn't think we knew we needed, kind of in the way Apple would do or has done in the past. And although I clamored for a point and shoot or smaller version fixed lens GFX in my past videos, and here it is, which I'm excited that I was able to get one, be one of the first. I have to honestly say that, and I know I said last episode that you want to try stuff out. I'm tired of the trend of people hating on stuff before it comes out, blasting it, and then when it comes out, you can't even get the dang camera. But we can have an opinion for sure. I just don't think it should be negative. I think it should be more of, I don't know right now if this is the right piece of gear for me until I get to try it. So our gear talk today is going to be about, you guessed it, the Fujifilm XHalf. Now, I can honestly say, as I reach up here, let me reach up here for those who are watching me on the video, I'm reaching up on the shelf, that's a little off camera, and I'm grabbing the Pentax 17. Now, I got the Pentax 17 as a film camera because it gave me more shots on the 36 roll film, where if I went into a situation and I didn't want to switch out on the 35 millimeter film I'm using and I wanted to get the most bang for buck, I went and spent 500 bucks, yes, 500 bucks on this film camera that's half frame. And guess what? It definitely does the job. I put this thing in auto and it does the job. The lens on this thing is fantastic for the cropped image that I'm getting on a half frame on 35 mil. And I think it was a smart move for them. Is it a novelty? Most might think. Is it something that I would see myself using every time I go out and want to shoot film? No, not necessarily. But in those situations where I do want to get most bang for buck, and I'm probably going to only have the time to shoot one roll, this does it. It gives me 72 shots. Now, when I saw that the XHalf was coming out, I actually was hoping that it was going to be film. I actually was hoping that Fuji would do something, and I'm reaching up again and grabbing my Fujifilm Class. I thought it would have been nice for them to start putting themselves back in a situation to where we got a film camera that had an updated autofocusing system, updated electronics, and was half frame, so I can do what I do with the Pentax 17. I figured the lens on the XHalf would definitely be better than the lens on the Pentax, and that the autofocus would be better than on the Pentax. And looking at that camera, they do look really nice. I know, I'm not going to sit here and say they don't look nice. They look really nice, especially that gray one. I love the darker gray one. It resonates with me, right? I love how they set the camera up with the half digital screen in the back, and I love how you can scroll with it. They did some things with that camera I thought were really neat, but they also did some things with that camera that I'd have to see for myself if that's something I think was worth it. And that's, being able to shift the camera into a film camera mode, and it really shuts down a lot of stuff on the camera. Limitations. I like limitations in my photography. It's one of the times I get to produce the most interesting content too. Limitations aren't a bad thing all the time. But in this situation, having the winder on there, making you use the winder to advance to the next roll, it's showing the roll or frame counter on the back of the LCD. You getting to choose between different film stocks, then using the app to develop the film, and then it puts them on contact sheet. All of that is real cool. And yes, it could seem gimmicky, and the experience it would probably be real cool at the onset. Um, but I actually would have rather that been a film camera for me, whether it be a half frame that could then go to a full frame. I think that would have been fantastic. Um, and then when it comes to the price, I can honestly say I don't know if that's the U.S. tariffs that's kicking in for that camera because of where it's built and where it's coming from. But $800 for what that camera does for me, I don't know if I am 100% on board with that as well. But experience wise, they are going to provide a wonderful experience. They are providing what I think is a really nice looking camera. And I think Fuji yet again has done a great job in finding something that will get photographers out shooting, which in turn will get photographers wanting to get that camera. So good for them for that. I expect, like other Fuji film cameras, it might become a hard to get camera once it's released out into the wild. And as far as the price, there are people out there that would absolutely get it, even with that higher price tag on it, because of the experience that they believe they are going to get out of it. So I give them points for those things. For me right now, I have to honestly say, for those of you who are looking at the XHalf, you know, let me know in the comments why you want that camera. Let me know in the comments what you think or how you would use that camera, right? For me, I have digital cameras from X100s to the GFX 100. I have my Leica Q. I have even for the pro work I do in conjunction with my GFX, I have a Nikon Z8. All of those cameras I can crop and post to get what I needed, which again, for me, I would have rather this been film than digital, because for me, I don't have a use case for this camera just yet. So let me know how you would use it for those of you. Outside of that, other stuff that's going on, other gear talk that's going on, and as it relates to street photography, I do think this camera could be a wonderful street photography camera, just like I believe and I use the Pentax 17. It will give you a small form factor, and allow you to take it with you everywhere, which is great. That's what we look for when we want an EDC camera. Again, I would have loved to pair that with my X100, having digital and film, but I will continue to use my Fujifilm Class or other film cameras I have paired with my digital cameras when I go out. And much success to Fuji for this camera. I know the XE5 is being rumored to come out, so when it comes to that camera, I actually would look forward to more to that camera and what specs that's going to be on that, and how it's designed, how I would want to take that out more for the type of shooting I do, right? Street photography, everyday photography, EDC with that camera, then I at this point can see myself doing with the XHalf frame, being a digital camera that it is. So for me, the XE5, I'm looking forward to seeing what's on that. And then when it comes to other brands out there, I gotta keep this up. Maybe folks need to start sending Sony. Yes, Sony, I'm talking to you. Sending Sony some shout outs on that Rx1R Mark III. I know there were rumors that the brand said that line wasn't dead, but it'd be nice to start hearing rumors about if they're going to do something with that brand or with that camera line. And I'd love to see that camera come out to the masses as another option for us folks that want an EDC camera that's packed with wonderful features that can be used for travel, street photography, everyday life. So that's kind of where I feel on that camera. And as far as other gear that's out there right now, or gear that we're looking forward to as it comes down to photography in general, um, Nikon, can we get a 35 to 150 or 50 to 150 from you for us Nikon shooters, like Sony is giving to their Sony shooters, that 50 to 150. I think that's an awesome lens. I myself have the Tamron 35 to 150, and I think it's fantastic. But knowing that an OEM lens from Nikon is going to be that much better, possibly in image quality, I'm actually curious to see what that would look like. I don't know if you guys are, but that's general photography talk gear wise. And as a person who shoots event photography and things like that, I think I would love to see what Nikon would do in that space. Not that I'm not having fun with my Tamron lens, and it's definitely doing the job, but I can tend sometimes to be more of an OEM shooter than I am a third party. So there you go, guys. That is the cast for today. Wanted to get that to you guys, get it out, and keep to my promise of trying to put 2 in this month so that I can make up for the one I missed in April. You guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you on the next cast.